You are paying for time. They are selling time. And the one thing you actually want, a system that works on launch morning, is technically nobody's job to deliver. Look closely at almost any big ERP or SAP program, and you will find the same quiet contradiction sitting right at the center of it. There is a meter, and the meter runs on hours. And there is a finish line, the day your business can actually run on the new system. And almost nobody in the room is being paid to reach it. They are being paid to be in the room. Now, this is not a story about lazy people, or dishonest firms, or evil consultants twirling a mustache. It is a story about incentives, the invisible rules that decide how everyone behaves. And it is a story about what you, the business person, who got pulled onto this thing, can actually do to bend those rules back toward what you need. So let me show you how the meter really works, why it quietly rewards going slow, and how to flip it. Most large programs run on something called time and materials. In plain terms, you pay for the hours people work, plus their expenses. It sounds completely fair, and honestly, it is the normal way these deals are written. But sit with the incentive for just 1 second, because it matters more than the rate card. The meter runs whether or not you got a single inch closer to a clean month-end close. It runs in a great week, and it runs in a wasted one. Effort is the thing that gets rewarded. The outcome is just quietly assumed to follow along behind it. And those two things, effort and outcome, are not the same thing. The entire gap between them is where transformation budgets bleed out, slowly, invisibly, one approved timesheet at a time. So when the people helping you are paid by the hour, understand this clearly. More hours is not a glitch. More hours is not the system failing. More hours is the system working exactly the way it was written to work. And you have felt this, even if you never had a name for it. There is the discovery phase that somehow never quite ends, because the moment it ends, the meter slows down. There is the urgent fix that mysteriously becomes a phase 2 conversation. There is the brilliant, expensive junior consultant who is very obviously learning the software for the very first time, live, on your budget, in your meetings. And there is the status deck, the one that has confidently said, we are 90% there for 4 months in a row, while the last 10% keeps quietly moving away from you. Here is what I need you to see. None of that requires a single bad person in the room. Everyone can be smart, hardworking, and genuinely well-meaning. It only requires one thing: a meter that does not care about the finish line, and a room full of busy people who have all silently agreed not to mention that it is running.
Great news on the program. We're tracking just a touch over on hours this sprint, but the team is learning so much about your business. Really, really exciting stuff.
Let me give you a real one, with the names filed off. A finance team I know hired a very good firm to modernize the way they close their books. The plan on the slide was 9 months. 14 months later, the consultants had delivered a series of genuinely beautiful workshops, a gorgeous future state diagram suitable for framing, and almost nothing the finance team could actually use to close an actual month. And here is the haunting part. Every single status report was green. Every invoice was detailed, accurate, and paid on time. The hours were completely real. The slides were real. The expertise in the room was real. And the close was still broken. Nobody lied. Nobody was lazy. Nobody stole anything. The engagement was simply ruthlessly optimized for the one thing it actually measured, which was activity. And activity, it turned out, was never the thing this client needed to buy. Now, here is the part that most loud, angry takes-about consultants get completely wrong. This is a structure, not a conspiracy. Firms default to time and materials for reasons that are actually pretty reasonable. You, the client, change your mind constantly. Requirements move. Priorities shift the moment a new executive walks in. And no firm on earth wants to eat the cost of all that churn for free under a fixed price. So time and materials is partly them protecting themselves from you. And fixed price is not some magic cure either. It just picks up the whole fight and moves it over to change orders, where every new idea you have suddenly becomes a tense little negotiation. So your consultant is genuinely not the villain in this story. The contract is the character. And the very moment you stop taking the incentive personally and start reading it coldly, like the operating system it actually is, you can finally start doing something useful about it. So let us flip it. You do not need to win an argument, and you definitely do not need to make enemies. You need to attach the money to outcomes, not just to hours. 4 levers do most of the heavy lifting. Lever 1. Tie the payments that matter to milestones that mean something, like a successful mock launch with real data, not to a stack of approved timesheets. Lever 2. Write the definition of success down before anyone starts, in plain business language that a finance manager would actually recognize, not in consultant poetry. Lever 3. Put a knowledge transfer clause in writing, so that on day 2 after launch, you are a capable owner of this thing, and not a permanent hostage to the people who built it. And lever 4, my personal favorite. Ask the quiet, devastating question, and then just wait. Can you show me that you actually use this thing yourselves? Outcomes get very real, very fast, the instant someone other than you has real skin in them. Now contracts set the rules, but here is the thing. The meter does not run once a quarter when you sign something. It runs every single week, so you have to govern it every single week. Between the invoices, ask one disciplined little question in your status meeting and ask it every time. What outcome did this week's hours actually move? Not what activities happened. Not what got discussed, or aligned on, or socialized. What is genuinely closer to working today than it was on Monday morning? Put that exact question up on the wall. Give it its own column on the board, right next to the tasks. And then watch how quickly the entire conversation changes. Because when hours have to point at an outcome out loud, in front of the whole room, the busy work suddenly starts to feel expensive, and the real work suddenly starts getting scheduled. You are not being difficult, or distrustful, or a pain. You are just making the finish line visible to the exact people who are being paid to reach it. So here is your move this week, and it is genuinely small. Take one deliverable on your project, just one, and rewrite it from an activity into an outcome. Not 40 hours of configuration. Instead, a finance team that can close the month in the new system without a war room and a wall of energy drinks. Same underlying work, completely different question. And just like that, you and your consultant are finally standing on the same side of the meter, looking at the same finish line. Remember the whole thing. You did not write this contract. You probably never even saw it. But you absolutely can decide what it points at every week, in every meeting you sit in. So make it point at the outcome you actually came here for. If this helped, do me a favor and subscribe. And then go read your statement of work like the budget it really is.